The world of e-commerce is worth several trillion for a reason. There's literally endless amounts of niches that you could sell products in. And in today's video, we're going to highlight a specific brand that just got bought out for $880 million. It's a Shopify store, but mostly just an e-commerce business that sells hand sanitizers. So believe it or not, selling these tiny little hand sanitizers, right? This isn't a crazy product, can allow you to sell your business for $880 million. Now, this is an oversimplification, but in this video, we're going to highlight their entire marketing strategy. We're actually going to go over some of their financials. This guy, Drew Fallon, who owns this really cool CFO software, broke this down amazingly. So we're just going to go through this, but I also want to add some extra stuff on their marketing side of things, since that's usually what we touch on here. Now, first and foremost, I want to show you that their traffic is not super impressive when it comes to their Shopify store. You can see a lot of their traffic is from the US, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. Literally just the top four. This is the top four countries that most brands, at least if you're starting a store, I would suggest to test these four countries. That's a very smart move to get lower CPMs. A lot of people don't do that, but that's how we've been able to scale from 0 to a million in, a matter of months, is by testing in a variety of markets. Now, what's interesting though is, as he points out, most of their sales come from brick and mortar. That's what B&M stands for, brick and mortar. So think things like Sephora, Target, just literally retail stores, which leads me to think that a lot of DTC people are actually sleeping on brick and mortar, right? Before DTC was kind of this new thing, it still is in a lot of ways. But I think obviously it seems the mix of the two is just probably the most powerful thing. And Amazon is really massive for them too. So let's just kind of go through this real quick. Touchland is the fastest growing brand in the hand sanitizer category, which apparently is a much bigger category than we thought. Founded by Andrea Lisbona in Barcelona, Touchland raised just a seed in Series A. There's an undisclosed amount. Their seed round was led by Sidekick Partners in 2018, and Sonoma Brands at the A. So they did raise a little bit of money, or a lot of it. We don't know. CDH disclosed that Touchland has the following top and bottom lines. The trailing 12-month period through March 31st, 130 million revenue, 55 million of EBITDA. So EBITDA means basically profit, right? Before taxes and a bunch of other stuff. So 42% profit margins. That is crazy, right? A lot of people don't get into e-commerce because they think that the profit margins are like 10%. And granted, that is the case for a variety of brands, but it's not the case for every brand, right? I think this is clear evidence of that. So this is their sales channel mix right here. On the call, CHD management gave some color on the brand, saying that 6% of their sales come from DTC, with 30% total online. Amazon is their third biggest channel, and 70% from brick and mortar, which is Sephora and Ulta, actually. Interesting. That's actually super interesting. I've been looking at the Ulta stock ever since Warren Buffett loaded up on it. So this kind of gives further conviction on that stock. I don't own any, but maybe I should. The Hero Cosmetics comparison. This deal is almost identical to CHD's $630 million purchase of Hero Cosmetics in almost every way. Revenue within 15 million, EBITDA margins within 3%, category size virtually the same. So Hero Cosmetics, that's another brand that's sold for pretty much the same amount. It looks super, super similar. Okay. This thesis is essential. Scoop of fast-growing accretive brands, I don't know what that word is that are number 1 or 2 in their category that they think can grow a category. Valuation, the sales multiple here is premium. Hero was a fairly rich deal at 5.5x sales, 14x EBITDA, and Touchland beat it by a lot. The deal is 6.8x sales and 16x EBITDA, but the brand is so profitable that it's an average EBITDA multiple. Here's how that stacks against competitors. So this is kind of what it looks like. These super fast growing, super profitable brands end up trading for lower multiples than the slower growing, larger peers with the same EBITDA, because during the auction process, because of the biggest buyers are rarely at the table, as they do not take fat risks. What's next? This play is all about distribution, and particularly international distribution. They expect double-digit growth. Yeah, I totally see that, especially as the global e-commerce market continues to grow. I think that's a very fair assessment. And this is super cool. So let's actually look at their Shopify store now. Their Shopify store is beautiful and they're doing a lot of licensing, which is super interesting. I think this is a really genius thing to do because, well, first of all, this can allow them to expand into the brick and mortar Disney empire, right? Although it's probably a lot smaller than Sephora and Ulta, it's still something. And it also just appeals to a brand new demographic. So you can use that in your advertising, which I don't think they're doing. I took a look at their meta ads. They're running 95 different meta ads right now that they have active. And they're just running to pretty simple landing pages. So let's just click this one, for example. It's just to a very simple landing page, add to cart button. If I were them, or if anybody from Touchland is watching, I would definitely create a subscription funnel. There's no reason not to, especially since people love these products and a lot of people would likely refill them on a continual basis. So why not create a subscription funnel that you run all of your meta ads to so that you can compound your growth, scale at a much lower return on ad spend, and virtually beat the competition. I mean, they are beating the competition, but I think that's a really good way that they could increase their Shopify presence. I can definitely help with that if they want to hit me up. But ultimately, they should just apply that if they don't want someone else to apply it for them. I think it's a good idea. Their ads are good. They look really nice. But clearly the creative strategy is lacking in a lot of ways. They're not pumping numbers, let's just say. Not that they necessarily need to. Obviously, brick and mortar is their main distribution channel, and they should just continue to go all in on that. No reason not to. But if they have a little bit of resource to expand into some innovation, I definitely think they should go crazier with their creative strategy and just go a little bit harder with it and have like 200 active ads, 300, 400 instead of just 90, because Meta is so powerful, guys. Like, Meta can show the right ad to the right person at the right time to get them to buy. Now, as you see, there's another licensing deal that they're doing. By the way, this is kind of super random, but I recently encountered some really cool connections that are experts at anime licensing. So if you have any sort of brand that wants to tap into the anime realm and niche, I can get you connected and get you licensing agreements with some of the biggest animes out there. So hit me up if that's relevant to you. If not, then just ignore this. But that's pretty much their website. It's actually extremely simple. It's very well done. I love how it looks. They do have extremely high quality materials, which is always fun to see. Quality is really awesome, and that's actually kind of the key to a good subscription business, which, again, they're not really doing the subscription thing, but they certainly should. And since they have such high quality products, people would be happy to subscribe to something like this. And again, just refill their existing products, right? Because I'm sure this would run out pretty quickly, maybe not super quickly, but yeah, I just love this brand because it just opens my mind and eyes to all the possibilities out there, right? Like, hand sanitizer is it's something we never really think about. At least I don't really ever think about it. Of course, through COVID, it kind of forced a lot of us to start thinking about it more. But I love how they're just making the hand sanitizer niche just more beautiful and better, right? I love brands that just try to make things better. And I think that's the goal for any brand, is just to figure out a great product and then make it better somehow and continue to make that experience better and better, while also making your marketing and overall presence better and better, right? Because unfortunately, just having an amazing product isn't enough, right? It's 50% having an incredible product and 50% distributing that product. I'm a big believer in that. And that's kind of what we preach to clients, what we preach to the brands that we invest into. That's how we've been able to grow brands super fast, even though, yeah, some of the products that I've sold have not necessarily been the best products, the products I'm most proud of. But they still sold very well because, more than 50% or 50% at least of the equation is just distribution and marketing, right? They are posting a lot on TikTok, which is really nice. They have a big following on here. Their engagement isn't that crazy, so that leads me to think that they're running a lot of TikTok ads, which is a very smart thing to do with this niche. These are very low ticket products, $16, $20. So TikTok is a perfect channel for it. But again, they should absolutely integrate a subscription component to their advertising plan. And that's something, again, that my team specializes in, right? So I'm not trying to shill my team here, but I have an agency called Akemi, and one of our favorite funnels to implement is subscription funnels for e-com brands and running the ads behind that as well on Meta and TikTok as well. So we do Meta, TikTok, and Google, but Google is more of an automated channel for the most part. I mean, it doesn't require as much maintenance as TikTok and Meta. So a lot of people reach out to us for Meta and TikTok specifically. But this would be a perfect brand for us to run because they have such a huge content library. They just don't have the right strategy in place in order to make this channel grow significantly, which again would require a subscription in my opinion. But yeah, this is super, super cool. I love this brand. I'm very inspired by it in a lot of ways. I want to say one thing too. It was started in 2010. So this isn't an overnight success. It's really easy to see these massive acquisitions, and everybody gets FOMO from these acquisitions, including myself. Like when I see this, I'm like, oh man, how I see it is like, man, I wish I would have invested in this brand. But even when they did raise money, I didn't even know anything about investing. I was barely starting my entrepreneurial journey back then. But now I know a lot more, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. But ultimately, you got to remember these things take time to build, right? Like great things don't happen overnight, and it's just kind of like the people that are willing to stick it out that make these huge, huge outcomes. I did also look at some of their overall sentiment in terms of their comments from Meta. This is a really cool tool that I use. It's called Smart Reply. If you go to smartreply.io, there's a free tool thing that you can use. It just allows you to basically look at an overall company's sentiment based on the comments on their Meta ads, and it's really nice because you can actually export this too. So you can feed it to ChatGPT and do all sorts of things with it. But the good news is a lot of people really love this. So people really, really love the brand. Ultimately, they just think it's great, but they are having some issues. For example, this is interesting. A month ago, somebody said it would be nice if they still sold to small businesses. So small businesses want to carry their product. It sounds like they may have exclusivity with Sephora and Ulta or something like that. Who knows, right? I don't know. But based on this comment, it seems like they could potentially sell to more small businesses. And there's a lot of small businesses out there, so this could be pretty cool for them. Can I have one for free? Someone's always asking for free stuff. Let's see. Thought I was going to love it, but it's just some young girl type scent. So yeah, older people are not liking these scents, which again is a good reason for them to continue to advertise on TikTok, since it does skew more younger on there, the demographic. It skews younger, but again, they should just implement a subscription to make it even more powerful, right? So that's something that they're saying. Maybe they should, based on this, they should launch a few scents that are a little bit older, more classic, I would say. That's what I would name it if I were them. I'd say vintage scents. That way you're tapping into the boomer demographic. I would love it if your products came in refillable bottles. So again, this is just kind of telling us people want refills. These are kind of older, but some negative comments nonetheless. And ultimately, they could be doing better at responding their comments. They're not replying to everything, which is always a huge missed opportunity. Every single touch point. This is one of the most undervalued pieces of advice that I got personally a long time ago with ads, is that if you want to make your Meta ads do better, one of the lowest hanging fruits is just to answer all your comments. Like, it sounds super obvious, but you can see even the biggest brands that are worth nearly $1 billion are not doing this, right? Which is pretty funny. It's just an interesting thing. They don't really value it that much. They don't put a lot of resource into it, and obviously it's not detrimental to them. It's still, they're still achieving huge outcomes, but every single touch point is important. And if you're getting 100 ads, imagine how powerful it would be to, maintain relationships with every single one of those comments, which you can do with AI, and that's what Smart Reply does. So very cool story, a very exciting outcome for them. I'm very proud of them, and, I don't know them at all, but I just love to see people winning, especially in the e-commerce space, which is such a tough space. It's so easy to see people in software like getting these crazy valuations, and you're like, man, why are we even doing things in e-com? But ultimately, I do believe in the e-commerce industry. I do believe in physical products. I love the software space too, but I do believe, physical products are going to continue to grow more and more. The e-commerce space is worth trillions of dollars, and it's probably going to be worth tens of trillions of dollars eventually. So super cool, very awesome brand. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're inspired by this as much as I am. And I would love to see more of these deals go down. I'll continue to make some of these videos. I like touching on the investor side of things. Shout out to Drew for having all this data just easily available for us to digest. And make sure you check these guys out. Check out their ads library. You can copy some of their stuff if you have a similar brand. I would certainly get inspired by them for sure. And if you are from Touchland, just one last time, I want to tell you, add subscriptions, man. And if you don't want to add subscriptions or you don't know how to do it, then just hit us up. But yeah, super cool brand. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.